So I'm a fourth generation family business member belonging to Tolaram group, which is our business. And the foundation that I work at is Ishk Tolaram Foundation. The genesis of the foundation came about because my grand uncle, who is the chairman, was really starting to think quite intentionally about how he wanted to formalize his philanthropy, because while he had been doing a lot of work in his personal capacity and through various family members on an ad hoc basis, he really wanted to think about what was going to be living on beyond him. So he wanted to make it something that was institutionalized in a sense, and that would be something he could leave behind for his own descendants and the larger family to continue that legacy of giving that he had inherited from his father and grandfather. So for the goals of the foundation, I think it's twofold. One is really what we're going to be doing in the community itself in terms of our work. But the secondary goal, I think, for him was also to think about how he was going to use the foundation as a way to engage family who were not necessarily business members, but had an interest in what the business stood for and the family legacy, and how we could actually encourage family members to be more involved, not in just being socially conscious, but also in contributing back to the community. His areas of interest have always been in the self-sufficiency sort of sphere. We came from a place where opportunity led us to our wealth generation, and he always felt that what we needed to do was equip people to be able to be self-sufficient as well. And the three major areas that he wanted to target was education, in the early years especially, vocational training as a means to take an unskilled person to becoming skilled to be meaningfully employed. And the third facet, which was something we stumbled upon later on, was to think about targeted health intervention, which was actually a barrier to self-sufficiency. So things like for amputees, for example, providing prosthetic limbs, or for people with blindness to provide either reversible intervention to reversible causes or rehabilitation for those with irreversible causes, so that they could actually be more equipped to be self-sufficient. So I have learned a lot of things about what it means to, I guess in the words family foundation, there's really two things to address. A foundation in itself, learning how to do that administratively has been quite eye-opening, I would say, because it's a very different outfit from a business, for example, or even from where I was in government, and in healthcare. So thinking about defining what a foundation was going to be was quite an uphill learning journey for me, because it was something new, both to the family and to me personally. I think some of the key learnings for that would be really thinking hard about what we wanted to do and really what was going to be our mission. And then the second thing was really, why were we doing it? Aside from just, great, we have these values of wanting to give back, but what were we trying to achieve and why were we trying to do that? One of the biggest things that I've learned is really how to start that conversation with family and to enter a different realm of conversation, because with somebody who's an elderly gentleman in my family, to talk to him about what are your passions, for example, is not something I would have regularly done at a dinner time conversation. So that intimacy, I think, was very important, both for our personal relationship, but also to understand my family history and in a larger sort of scope, because a lot of what he was translating was things that he had inherited from the generations above him as well. One of the things that I think is really special about family philanthropy is that you have the opportunity to work within the family to do good. And that can be very powerful, both from the point of view of what you're trying to achieve and also from the point of view of bringing the family together. So our family is quite large, and I think only about a quarter of us are actually actively involved in the business. But since the inception of the foundation itself, there has been so much interest from other family members who have never really shown up at family business sort of meetings and gatherings to kind of say, how can I help? And how can I bring my voice to this table, because this is something that I feel in my capacity I can do. And I'm talking about all four generations. I'm talking about the women in the family. I'm talking about the kids in the family. How can I volunteer? So I think that's been really special, because being in this position where I get to lead this organization, I'm able to also garner that support and galvanize the family together to walk in this giving journey together, where it's really much, much more than just who are our beneficiaries, but what kind of relationships we're building along the way.